Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, dwyerboxingissues.blogspot.com. Here with some thoughts on Lamont Peterson's failed drug test. But before we continue, just remember the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now let me warn people up front. This video is going to be a bit wonkish. Okay? Now, if you haven't heard, Lamont Peterson was busted for failing a drug test administered by the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association. Understand, there is no question that he failed the drug test. He actually failed both the A sample and the later B sample. Now, as longtime viewers know, his last fight, his fight against Amir Khan, was so up in the air that many scorers, myself included, actually thought Amir Khan won that fight. Right? That fight was razor close. Now, to the boxing public, let me just say, in a fight that's razor close, doesn't every round count? If your trainer said to you, use this strategy, it could get us a couple rounds, wouldn't that strategy be useful? Well, I'll just say this. Lamont Peterson won by the skin of his teeth against Amir Khan, right? A lot was involved, referee point deductions, etc. But understand that that was hardly a dominant performance. Well, now we're finding out from his lawyer that Lamont Peterson took what they're calling synthetic testosterone pellets before his fight with Amir Khan. Now, I'm not saying that Amir Khan is a Boy Scout. Unfortunately, in boxing, you always have to question every fighter. But what I can say is that I view this fight like I view the Shane Mosley-Oscar De La Hoya rematch, right? Where now we know Shane Mosley has admitted to taking the cream and the clear before that fight. And so in my eyes, that fight at a minimum is a non-fight. Quite frankly, I thought Oscar De La Hoya won that rematch. Well, here, I thought Amir Khan won the first fight with Lamont Peterson. Now that I hear that Lamont Peterson took testosterone pellets, I'm even more resolute in my belief that Amir Khan got jobbed. Let's go one step further. For those of you who have been listening to the ongoing dialogue in boxing, where certain fighters, Floyd Mayweather for example, have literally said that they will not fight an opponent unless that opponent submits to drug testing, right? And for those of you who have believed the other side of the argument, which is that the state commissions do a great job of policing the sport and that a juicer really can't get by state athletic commission testing, all I could say is you need to read the New York Daily News article on Lamont Peterson's positive drug test. His lawyer has come out and has admitted that he took testosterone pellets. Understand, you don't inject the testosterone. The drugs are so advanced now that all you have to do is put the testosterone pellets under your armpit and they are literally absorbed through the skin, right? Well, all I'm saying is this, that admission, that recognition that Lamont Peterson used testosterone pellets before his fight against Amir Khan, quite frankly, should discredit whatever state athletic commission who had jurisdiction over that fight, right? The state athletic commission, I believe it was D.C., clearly did not catch the use of synthetic testosterone by one of the participants before that fight. It's really sad, quite frankly, that the belt changed hands as a result of that fight. Right? Let's go further. Victor Conte, who knows a lot about drug use in sports, since he himself used to be the head of Balco. Right? Victor Conte has made the claim that he believes that a lot of athletes are doping, right? But they're micro doping. Now understand that for the Olympics, the U.S. Drug Testing Agency literally will only administer a carbon isotope ratio test if the testosterone to epitestosterone ratio exceeds 4:1. That's when they then say, okay, let's test for synthetic testosterone, right? But understand in this case, and it's very important that you pay attention to the drug testing agencies because they have different protocol. In this case, the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association was the party that contracted to administer the tests. And what they do as a matter of course is they administer the carbon isotope ratio test. Let's call it a CIR test, right? They don't wait for the 4:1 ratio. They administer it anyway. And it's that test that pointed out that Lamont Peterson had actually tested positive for synthetic testosterone. In other words, synthetic testosterone was in his system, both the A sample and the B sample. Richard Schaefer, and just pay attention to the players, the head of Golden Boy Promotions, then claimed that he had no idea that Lamont Peterson had tested positive in March and that the B test came back positive in May. Right? Schaefer, the promoter, had plausible deniability. Right? He claimed that VADA, right, the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association, had contacted Lamont Peterson and his people directly, and that VADA had not contacted Golden Boy and had not contacted HBO, who weren't signatories to VADA's agreement to test the fighters. Right? The fighters were signatories to the agreement, but not HBO or Richard Schaefer. You should view all of this with suspicion. Right? This is the status quo protecting itself. In the real world, this is called don't ask, don't tell. Talk about steroids, set up a testing protocol, and then be out of the loop. Right? The bottom line is this. You have a fighter who used synthetic testosterone, according to his attorney, according to the New York Daily News, before the biggest fight of his career against Amir Khan. He narrowly escaped with the win in that fight, and then, of course, he tests positive, right, after signing a contract for testing for the Amir Khan rematch. Right? Those are the facts. Now understand, Conte's point is one you need to keep track of, not just because Conte is an advisor to people like Andre Berto. I believe he might be an advisor to Nonino Donaire and Andre Ward. Right? Victor Conte's point is simply that people are able to game the system by microdosing so that their testosterone, epitestosterone ratio is just slightly below 4:1. So you don't even get to the CIR test, which you got to in this case, because rather than use the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, they literally used a different outfit, VADA, the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association. right? And so to sum up, doping remains a problem in professional athletics. The money is simply too big for fighters to not cut corners in trying to achieve their goals, right? Let me also point out that clearly the athletic commissions aren't doing a great job of policing the sport, because it literally took a failed test several months after the original Peterson Khan fight to uncover the admission that Lamont Peterson took testosterone pellets before their first fight. If you're wondering what happens in Khan Peterson 2, you could stop wondering, because that fight is not going to happen. The Nevada Athletic State Commission cannot let this fight go forward, because if anything happened to Amir Khan in a fight in which even the state boxing athletic commission knew was an unlevel playing field, Amir Khan would have one hell of a lawsuit, right? Not only that, quite frankly, the sanctioning bodies cannot have a champion who has failed a drug test go ahead and proceed with the fight, because the outcome of the fight, quite frankly, would be viewed with suspicion. This is a tragedy on a lot of levels, but let me just say, I believe it is clear from this tragedy that fighters need to not only agree to random drug testing, but they need to do so with the right agency that's not going to insist on a 4-to-1 testosterone to epitestosterone ratio before they administer a carbon isotope ratio test. That CIR test is crucial in preventing microdoping. Dopers who dope but make sure that their testosterone to epitestosterone ratio stays below the 4-to-1 marker that would then trigger the CIR test. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments for me here online. Visit us at gamblersadvisory.com and dwyerboxingissues.blogspot.com. Thanks for watching.